What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. One of my favorite channels on YouTube and one of the channels that inspired me to start my own YouTube channel is Mark Brown's Game Maker's Toolkit. In each video, he dives deep into a particular topic surrounding game development and speaks with different designers and developers and artists about their perspectives on the topic as well. It really is an amazing channel, and if you haven't seen any Game Maker's Toolkit videos, please check them out. But chances are, if you're here, you've probably seen Mark Brown already as well, so forget about it. Aside from the videos though, Game Maker's Toolkit also runs a yearly 48-hour game jam. Since I missed last year's jam, I definitely wanted to join in this year. During the jam though, I only really had a day free, so I honestly only had 24 hours to do it. So I thought this video would be a cool opportunity to talk about the different tips and tricks that I use to make a game in that little of time. The theme this year was Join Together, which I was really happy with because I've seen this theme tossed around for other jams in the past, but it was never really selected, and I've always liked it when I saw it proposed. I just feel like it's one of those themes that opens up a lot of opportunities for people to get super creative with it. And this kind of leads into my first tip, which is how to properly brainstorm when you don't have that much time to execute any of your ideas. For me, the remedy for this was just letting my mind process what it was immediately jumping to. My mind was immediately jumping to things like controlling two things at once or having my jump affect different things around me. I was just putting different vague mechanics on paper that could be applied to many different things. I also limited my brainstorming time to about 2 hours because I didn't want to give myself too much time to overthink. At the end of that time, I really liked the concept of having health tied to other things in the scene. I wasn't sure what or how or who yet, but I just liked that idea and I decided to run with it. In my opinion, at least, with a 24-hour time frame, you really don't need to have everything planned out all the way. You just need to get an idea and get moving. So I started to make a score-based survival game where your health was tied to something. And that's another tip for making a game quickly. I did this with my first game, Pizza Frenzy, as well, is to just make a survival score-based minigame where you get points for lasting longer. That way you don't have to worry about level design because you can just make one level and just focus on really making it fun. I started by setting up some basic player movement and camera work and got a cube moving around the scene. Once this was done though, I actually just kept the player as a cube in the final game. And this is another 24-hour game tip if you're not the greatest at art like I am and it's not your strongest suit. Just make the player a cube. With game jams especially, it's far more important to just keep the game solid and fun and polished rather than trying to get too ambitious with visuals, especially if you're bad at making visuals. Now that the more basic building blocks were in place, I actually had to use my brain and make some game design decisions. I thought it'd be cool and more importantly simple to make a game where your health was constantly depleting and going near other objects or NPCs would influence that rate in some way. So I would have friendly NPCs where going near them would slow down the rate at which your health decreased, and then I would have enemy NPCs where going near them would actually speed it up. I would also make the NPCs follow the player if they spotted them just to make it a more interesting experience. Also, somewhere along the way in the stage design process, I decided I wanted to have certain zones in the map that would give the player a boost in health. This was an okay idea, but it was complicating the game a bit. It introduced a brand new mechanic to a silly game jam game that really only needs one and would honestly benefit from the less is more mantra. So I decided to follow what is honestly my biggest tip for designing a game in 24 hours, which is sticking to your main mechanic and just letting that design the rest of your game and everything that you want to do. Instead of adding this new health boosting zone mechanic, why wouldn't I just make a new NPC character that would boost your health if you got near it? I wouldn't have to create a new system, I could reuse my code, and I would essentially be creating the same functionality. So that's essentially what I did. I had purple cubes that would leech off your health and make your health go down faster, but they were a little slower than you. I would have red cubes that were slightly faster than you that would slow down the rate at which your health decreased. And then I had green cubes that were really fast and elusive, but they would give you a nice health boost if you got near them. And without having to worry about creating these health boosting zones, I could create a really nice fleshed out map. With the map done and all the mechanics and gameplay in place, I gave the game a really nice visual style that honestly was reminiscent of Pac-Man, which I liked because the gameplay honestly feels like Pac-Man a little bit. At this point, it was like 4 in the morning and I really wanted to go to sleep and I just wanted to be done with the game. So I slapped a menu on it and a game over screen that displayed your score, and I realized I needed to put music in the game. So I just outsourced the track from soundimage.org. That would be my last tip for creating a game in under 24 hours and for honestly creating any game in general, is outsource for things that you don't have the skill set to do. Making games is not easy and it requires a lot of different skill sets, and if you can't make the greatest song, there's plenty of songs on the internet for you to license. And honestly, the last thing I wanted to do at 4:30 in the morning was compose a new song. Last Cube Standing is live on my itch.io right now. If you want to check it out, I would really appreciate any feedback that you have. Making a good game in 24 hours is really hard, and I don't even know if the game I made is good. Hopefully people enjoy it, but I hope these tips that I gave in the video are helpful to some of you who are looking to take on that challenge yourself. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Slow it down to a medium groove.